Riders love to talk about how much they love riding. The freedom, the sound, the adrenaline. Yeah, we get it. But what no one talks about are the things that actually bother us. The annoyances, the aches, the regrets. The stuff you grumble about to yourself in your helmet, but never say to anyone else. Because to admit it feels like weakness, or inexperience, or betrayal of the lifestyle. But here's the truth. Every rider complains about this stuff in private. They just don't want to be the one to say it first. So, I will. This is the unfiltered list of things every rider complains about, but never says out loud. And if you got your own, you're not alone. You just never heard anyone admit it before. Number 1. Sometimes the helmet just feels like a prison for your head. No one ever says it because helmets are sacred. You don't question them, you wear it, you promote it, you defend it online. But deep down, every rider's had that moment on a hot day, stuck in traffic, or after 5 hours on the road where you think, I hate this thing right now. It's squeezing your ears, your scalp sweating, your jaw aches from clenching, the visor's fogging up no matter how you crack it. And don't even mention the pressure point that just magically appeared behind your temple. But you don't say it because you don't want to sound like a noob, or worse, like someone who doesn't value safety. So you ride in silence, annoyed and borderline claustrophobic, counting the minutes until you can yank it off. And when you do, that first rush of air on your face feels like rebirth. The rule? It's okay to admit your helmet isn't always comfortable. That doesn't make you sound like less of a rider. It makes you human. Sometimes gear isn't perfect. Sometimes you just want your damn face back. And every rider, no matter how hardcore, has quietly cursed their helmet during a heat wave at a red light. Don't worry, we've all been there. Number 2. Most gear looks cool for exactly 10 minutes before it becomes a sweatbox nightmare. You suit up, leather jacket, armored gloves, riding jeans, boots. You look like a superhero walking out the door. You straddle the bike feeling invincible. And then you sit in traffic for 5 minutes. Now your lower back is soaked, your knees are sticking to the inside of your pants, your gloves feel like wet socks, and your jacket, it's turned into a convection oven with elbow armor. But you can't complain, right? Because ATGAT. Because it's about safety. Because the guy next to you in shorts and flip-flops is doing it wrong. Still, every rider, every single one has thought, I hate this gear right now. Not because it's bad, but because being fully armored in 90-degree heat with no airflow and zero movement is a slow, sweaty descent into madness. You won't say it out loud because you don't want to sound like someone who's thinking about taking it off. But the truth is, even the safest riders secretly dream of wearing a t-shirt just for one ride, just one block, just one breeze. The rule? You can hate your gear sometimes and still wear it. No shame, no judgment. Vent panels help, mesh helps, but nothing makes gear feel comfortable at a dead stop in the sun. And yes, everybody lies about how breathable their jacket really is. Number 3. Yes, long rides sometimes get boring. We all romanticize the open road, the wind in your face, the freedom, the it's about the journey stuff. And yeah, it is all of that. For a while. But here's a part nobody says out loud. Sometimes long rides get boring. Not painful, not uncomfortable, just monotonous. You've been on the same straight highway for an hour. Your music isn't hitting, your legs are sore, your helmet's buzzing in that one weird frequency, and your thoughts start drifting to what you're going to eat later, or what emails are piling up, or whether you left the garage light on. And then comes the guilt. I'm on my bike. I should be loving this. So you keep riding like everything's great, even though half your brain checked out 30 miles ago, and now you're counting mile markers like a trucker. You'll never tell anyone. You'll post a photo at the scenic overlook and say, epic day on 2 wheels. But in between those snapshots, yeah, some stretches drag. and it's okay. The rule? You're allowed to be bored sometimes, even doing something you love. Doesn't make you less passionate, doesn't mean the magic is gone. It means you're human. And any rider who says, "I love every single mile," probably forgot the part where they were stuck behind a camper for 40 minutes on a hot 2-lane with a no passing zone. Number 4. You secretly hate when people walk up and start asking dumb questions about your bike. You just parked. Maybe you're getting gas. Maybe you're grabbing coffee. You take off your gloves, helmet, and finally, silence. And then, "Hey, what kind of bike is that?" And the cycle begins. "How fast does it go? Is the thing hard to ride? My cousin had a Harley once. Do you ever get scared of crashing?" Now you're stuck, smiling, nodding, pretending to be flattered by someone who just wiped greasy hands on your seat and called your Ducati a ninja. You never say it out loud because riders are ambassadors, right? We're supposed to represent the community, answer questions, be patient, but deep down, you just want people to leave you alone and let you drink your damn coffee. It's not that you hate people. It's that you're just not in the mood to explain how a clutch works to someone who just asked if you ever go 200 on the freeway. The rule? It's okay to be annoyed. You don't owe anyone a parking lot TED Talk about motorcycles. Be polite, sure. But if you ever faked a phone call just to dodge a conversation, don't worry. You're not the only one. You love your bike. Doesn't mean you want to talk about it every time you're near it. Number 5. Riding with people who are slightly better than you secretly ruins the whole ride. You say you love a challenge. You say it helps you grow. You say riding with faster, more skilled riders is inspiring. And on paper, yeah, it is. But deep down, you spend the whole ride stressed out, trying not to fall behind, wondering if you're holding everyone up. They're hitting apexes smoother, their lines are cleaner, they brake later, accelerate earlier, and make it all look effortless. Meanwhile, you're checking your mirrors more than the road ahead, trying to keep up without looking like you're trying to keep up. You won't admit it. You'll smile at the gas station and say, "Good pace, huh?" But inside, you're thinking about that one corner you blew. The time you got dropped in the twisties. The way they didn't even seem winded when you finally caught up. It's not jealousy, it's pressure. And it turns a fun ride into a mental chess match where you're the only one sweating. The rule? Not every ride needs to be a test. It's okay to ride with people at your level, or even below it, just to breathe. Just to enjoy the bike without feeling like you're auditioning for a MotoGP contract. No one likes to admit this, but every rider's been there, pretending it's all good when really, you just wanted a chill ride, not a performance review. Number 6. You secretly regret posting about your bike online because of the experts that show up. You take a photo. Clean bike, good angle, nice lighting. Maybe you post it to a forum, Instagram, or drop it in a group chat. No big deal, right? You're proud of your machine. Then the comments start. "Those tires are garbage. Why didn't you go with the R version? That exhaust is a waste of money. You should have just bought another bike." And suddenly, something you were excited to share turns into a swarm of unsolicited opinions, armchair mechanics, and spec sheet warriors who act like your choices personally offend them. You won't say it publicly because it sounds petty, but privately, you wish you never posted it. Not because you're unsure of your bike, but because dealing with the swarm of bro science and smug know-it-alls sucks the joy out of showing it off. Maybe you start second-guessing the next post. Or worse, you start second-guessing the bike. Maybe I should have gotten that other model. The rule? You don't owe anyone an explanation for your taste. Ride what you like, mod how you want, and remember, 90% of the people giving you crap haven't ridden half the miles you have. You posted because you love your bike, not because you wanted a debate. And every rider knows the feeling, even if they pretend not to care. Number 7. Riding two-up is nowhere near as fun as people pretend it is. Ask any rider with a passenger seat and they'll say all the right things. Yeah, riding two-up is great. It's awesome sharing the ride. We love cruising together. But if they're honest, they're lying through their teeth. Because here's what actually happens. Your balance feels off. Every turn feels like you're carrying a sack of potatoes that leans when it wants to. Braking distance doubles. Acceleration feels sluggish. You can't shift your weight like you normally would. And if your passenger shifts at the wrong moment, good luck holding that line through the corner. You smile through it because you want them to enjoy it. You pretend it's fine. But deep down, you miss riding solo the entire time. Then there's the helmet bumping. The sudden yanks on your shoulders, the way they grip your waist tighter every time you go over 40 like you're flying a jet instead of riding a street bike. The rule? Riding two-up is a compromise, not a thrill. You do it because you care about the person on the back, not because it improves the ride. No one wants to say it out loud, but every rider has thought, this would be way more fun without someone glued to my spine. Doesn't make you selfish, just makes you honest. Number 8. Night riding looks cool in photos, but it's actually kind of terrifying. The glowing taillights, the empty roads, the peaceful vibe. Riding at night looks magical, especially on social media. But what riders rarely admit is this. Night riding often sucks. Headlight range is never as good as you think it is. Everything beyond that beam, a black void. You ride slower, not because you want to, but because you can't see far enough ahead to trust anything. Corners come at you faster. Debris shows up too late. Shadows play tricks on your depth perception. Then there's the blind spots from oncoming traffic. A single lifted truck with LED head beams can blind you for a full 5 seconds. Long enough to miss a turn, a pothole, or a deer frozen in the lane. And speaking of deer, you don't see them until it's too late. But no one says this out loud. You're supposed to enjoy the calm of the night ride. You're supposed to act like it's relaxing. Truth is, you're more tense than ever. One eye on the road, the other half squinting against glare, and your brain constantly whispering, please don't let anything jump out right now. The rule? Night rides look better than they feel. And while they have their moments, anyone who says they prefer riding at night all the time has either never ridden in pitch black or is just too proud to admit it scared the hell out of them. Number 9. We've all looked in the mirror and thought, do I even look like I belong on this thing? You got the bike, the gear, the license. You're doing everything right. But one day, maybe after seeing a photo of yourself on the bike or catching your reflection in a storefront, you think, do I look awkward? Do I look too old, too short, too heavy, too stiff? No one talks about this because riding is supposed to be about freedom, not appearance. But that self-doubt creeps in. You see sleek riders with perfect posture or influencers who make every lean look like poetry, and you start wondering if you look like you just learned to ride yesterday. And here's the part no one says. Every rider's felt this. Doesn't matter if they've been riding 6 months or 16 years. Everyone has had that moment of insecurity, wondering if they're the right type to be on a bike. It's worse when you ride in groups. You compare your riding position, your gear, even how your helmet fits. You feel judged, even when no one's saying a word. The rule? Every rider looks awkward sometimes. Everyone starts out looking stiff, and no one is watching you as much as you think they are. Confidence isn't how you look on the bike, it's that you're on it. You belong on 2 wheels the second you throw a leg over. The rest, that's just noise. Number 10. As much as you love riding, sometimes you dread getting back on the bike. It's been a few days, maybe a week. The bike's clean, the weather's good, but when it comes time to ride again, you hesitate. Maybe you stall. Maybe you reach for the keys and then think, maybe tomorrow. You'll never admit this out loud because riders are supposed to always be hungry to ride. It's your identity, right? Your passion. But secretly, Sometimes the thought of gearing up, braving traffic, and being hyper alert for hours feels like a mental chore. You start running through the excuses in your head. It's too windy, traffic's bad today, I don't really have anywhere to go. But the truth is, you're just not in the headspace for it. And that's normal. Riding isn't like driving a car. It takes energy, focus, presence, and some days you just don't have it in you. That doesn't make you a bad rider, it makes you human. The rule? You're allowed to not feel like riding, even if you hadn't ridden in a little while, even if everyone else is out. Ride when your mind and body are ready, not when your ego feels guilty. Because the second riding becomes a burden, you're not just less happy, you're less safe. And no one ever wants to admit that part. Number 11. You secretly hate riding in the rain, no matter how hardcore you act. You say it's not a big deal. You say you're not a fair weather rider. Maybe even post about how riding in the rain builds skill. And while all that might be true, let's be honest, you hate it. Your gloves get soaked, your boots feel like soup, your visor fogs every 30 seconds, your jacket starts leaking right where it says 100% waterproof, and your fingers go numb no matter how tight you grip the bars. The road turns into a slick mirror where painted lines and manhole covers might as well be banana peels. Braking feels like a gamble. Every car next to you is spraying filth into your lane, and the entire time your brain is repeating, "Please don't low side, please don't low side." But you won't admit it, because rain riding's a badge of honor. You're supposed to push through, tough it out. Yeah, sometimes you do. That doesn't mean you like it. The rule? It's okay to hate rain rides. You don't have to love every part of riding. You're allowed to feel miserable, soggy, and over it halfway through. That doesn't make you soft, it makes you soaked and human. Number 12. No one wants to admit how much it sucks to drop the bike at a standstill. It's the most embarrassing moment in motorcycling. You're not speeding, you're not leaned over, you're not even moving. You're just pulling into a driveway, doing a slow U-turn, or putting your foot down on uneven pavement. And the bike tips over like it's had enough of your nonsense. No crash, no damage, hopefully, but your ego, obliterated. And here's the part that really stings. You knew it was happening a second before it did, and still couldn't stop it. One bad lean angle, one misjudged stop, and suddenly you're standing there holding the bars as your pride hits the ground. You tell yourself it's no big deal. You laugh it off, but in your head, you're replaying it over and over, imagining who saw it, what they thought, and how long it'll take before you stop thinking about it. The rule? Everyone drops a bike, at least once. And most of the time, it's at 0 miles per hour. You can be riding for decades and still tip over at a gas station like a rookie. Riding is one of the most rewarding things you can do. It's also filled with quiet frustrations, doubts, and private complaints that most riders never say out loud. Pride gets in the way. Image gets in the way. Deep down, we've all felt them. We've all had sweaty gear tantrums. We've all questioned our skills, our looks, our choices. We've faked confidence in group rides, cursed our helmets, and avoided the bike longer than we'd like to admit. But here's the thing. You're still a rider. None of these thoughts make you weak. They make you real. And the second we start talking about them openly, we make space for other riders to breathe, laugh, and ride without pretending everything's perfect. So if even one of these hit home, say so. Drop a comment, share your own. No judgment. This is the side of riding nobody posts about, but every rider lives. And if you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're not just here to glorify the ride, we're here to tell the truth about it. Ride honest, ride human, and remember, every rider has their secrets. You're just finally hearing them.